We're up, my friend. How are you? Good to see you.
Long time no talk.
Yeah, brother. Yeah. How you doing? You good?
Good. Man, I remember like towards the end of the last time I was here, you said, "Oh yeah, we'll probably see you again in a couple years," and I was just looking around like, "Yeah, I'll never see any of this again."
You're back quicker than you thought.
Yeah.
Bro, that new song is fire.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
Woo! I played that song about 20 times in the green room, and the first time I played it, everybody just sat around and went, "Oh shit!"
It was so funny that I didn't expect the song. I wasn't the one. I guess it was Adam that sent it. I don't even know how you got a hold of the song originally.
Yeah, Adam sent it to me originally.
Yeah. I'd sent it to him like just to get his opinion of it or whatever. And he's like, "I got it." He's like, "Do you mind if I share this around?" And I was like, "Yeah, go ahead."
Bro, the first time I heard it was in the green room. And the green room has a killer sound system. So we put it on the Bluetooth and cranked it, and all of us, there was like 10 dudes in that room going, "Oh shit. Oh shit." Some of those lines like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Whew.
What makes that song different, I guess, than anything I've done or than a lot of music now is that we tried to like do it the way Leonard Skinner or somebody would back in this, where we're all just in the house and there's no like, man, there's so much editing that goes into music now on the back end and stuff. And with this, we're just like in there doing it and, try to keep it as real as possible. Like, there's no click tracks, there's no real editing. It's just kind of like we're all just in this house. I mean, it's the worst timing to record, but that January 5th, 6th, 7th window was the only time that everybody could meet up. Billy Contreras on the fiddle and everybody, and because he tours with Ricky Skaggs and he's kind of all over the place. So that was like our time to meet. So a couple days before we all went to West Virginia to record at my house up there, this like terrible storm they were calling for. It's like the worst one since the 90s supposedly, or that's what Draven says. But so we got all the snow, all this ice. So yeah, we used a side-by-side and a Jeep to haul everything up and down. It was like just all we could do to get up and down to the house. And then as soon as we get everything plugged in, ready to go, the power knocks out. And I was like, we were all just so discouraged. And luckily, there's a Lowe's not terribly far away, and they had like a Honda inverter generator that was like safe to plug everything into, where the waves aren't going to mess everything up. And so yeah, we recorded the song while on a generator.
So you have to worry about the waves of the generator, like the sound of the generator? Well, like, is that what it is?
No, like the
electrical pulses?
Yeah, like plugging all of that expensive equipment into just like a generator that's not an inverter. Like the voltage like goes up and down, I guess, or I don't know. That's all above my pay grade, but we had to find one that was like safe to plug all that equipment into.
Well, maybe that's something in the song too. Like maybe that you're trapped in a storm. But that's a scary ass song, dude. It's a scary.
I can't wait for See, I hadn't put a lot of new music out because, I think back to even when I was here last time and before we did the episode and all, walking around on the sidewalk out in front of the hotel with Draven and a couple other people arguing that I needed to just cash out from Richmond and roll and not make this into a long-term thing. Because I just, I just don't. Some people thrive in this environment, like everybody looking at them. But to me, it's just like, ugh. So it kind of takes a little bit out of me putting new music out. And so, after Richmond, I only had those 2 new songs. I really just wanted to let everything kind of slow down, and I could still maybe do 5 or 10 shows a year and make a little bit. But I wasn't trying to be like a superstar. I didn't want everybody I didn't want to be stuck in that spot I was when I was at Richmond, where everybody's just like obsessing over stuff. And so I kind of just tried to let it die. And then it wouldn't. It was like the streams kept continuing and people were still messaging me and emailing and the shows were still selling out. And I just realized like, I don't know, I believed everybody that said, this kid's got 15 minutes of fame and whatever. And I would have been, when Richmond blew up, I would have been one of those guys who would have been like, oh, that stupid guy, like I would have been a hater too. So I was almost like rooting for them, like, yeah, because you got to think, man, the first check from Richmond was $800,000. Like I could have lived a long time off of that money, I don't need a whole lot of, like, that was crazy, that was
right.
A decade or more of work for me easily. And so I was like, heck yeah, I'm good. I'll just take it, and anyway, I say all that to say that now it's like I'm gonna at least just hit it good one more time. We've got 6 songs recorded now to come after Scornful that are all like, I'm pretty proud of them. They're good, and so I'm gonna put those out, and then who knows after that. But
let me tell you what's gonna happen. You got a relationship with those people now, man. They love you.
yeah,
It's just your mission in life. You know, you just got handed a wild hand of cards, and this is your deck of cards. You know, your deck of cards is, or your hand of cards is, you put this song out, this authentic song that's very simple in this time where nothing's simple, in this time where everything's confusing and you don't know who's telling the truth. The news is lying to you. Everything is being funded. Nothing's organic. It's half the fucking traffic on social media is bots, at least.
Yeah.
Politicians are lying. Everybody's confused. People are simping for politicians. They're getting paid to repeat talking points on television and on podcasts and all over social media. So when someone comes out with something like that, is just that dude telling you how he feels.
yeah,
Real, raw. You know? I remember we had that conversation on the phone, and I was like, if you can do that, you could do that again. They don't need anybody else. You don't need these motherfuckers that want you to cash out. All these, they're doing that because they think that you're gullible. They think that you're naive in the ways of the entertainment and music business. The first fucking live show you ever performed was a giant sold out show at a state fair. Do you know how crazy that is? This is your first live show.
Well, that very first show was actually it was even more amateur than that. It was at a farm market. It was it wasn't even there weren't even any tickets. It was just like, so it's crazy how it goes back to when I still believe just as much now as I did the last time I was here about, and I definitely won't bug everybody too much with all my hokey pokey religious stuff either. Like, I definitely want to read a little bit out before we go, but I do believe it was all too perfectly timed. But I had actually picked that date out at the farm market before Richmond blew up. That was going to be my first time playing live either way.
Oh, wow.
That date, it was like August the 12th, I think. I had booked it back in July with that Morris Farm Market.
Oh,
I was going to get $200 and go play for like, it was like 2.5 hours. Like, seriously. And in that time, that's what happened. So, like, I already had that date picked, and yeah, it was just at a farm market and like kind of near the beach in Outer Banks. And they say like 12,000 people showed up, and that was the very first one. Yeah, and I remember even then, like, I just expected everybody to sing Richmond, and that was going to be it, and it'd be cool, and I'd go back to work the next week. But it was like, even in that crowd at that very first show, all the other songs they knew the words to too. And I was like, wow, this is like something, you know? But
wow.
The important thing too is that the important thing to take away from this, and I said this during Richmond, but people, you know, it was like, take me out of it. The fact that people can now choose what they want and push it to the top, even in a system that's rigged, where there is bots and there's mass marketing money going into songs, and like labels spend $1 million on their own song to get it up the label.
Yeah.
The fact that people can just decide they like something and just shoot it up to the top, like, people need to realize how much power and influence they have, at least for a short period in time in society. It's like the stars are aligned where we can kind of, it's funny, technology, like, can only develop on the backs of people using it. And so like AI and all of this over the years, social media, like all the back end of that, it's all that information's being sort of extracted from us. Like, you think about like the way a Tesla car rides down the road and it's watching you drive, and it's like reading your analytics so it can learn how to drive better. We know AI, that's the only reason why they let everybody use AI, is so it can make the AI, it's the user input that's what makes it, you know? And so for a very short period in time, it's like the stars are aligned where they're having to, like, while they're sucking all the humanity out of us to put into this AI, we also have full access to it. And like, so we can do, like, even in the music business, you know, everything that the label used to hold exclusive control over, like the publicity and the marketing and the digital streaming service relationships, like all that stuff is now just a la carte to anybody. Like, you don't need those big companies, all that stuff. You can just go and hire a really good social media person, and you can work with a good music distributor without having to sign anything or give any of your rights up. And right now the people have the power, is what I mean, for like a very short period of time. But this should just be a reminder of that. This song being able to go up into the iTunes charts, even with stuff with way bigger audiences, with all kinds of marketing reach. You know, the fact that this can just organically go into the iTunes charts like that, and people, you know, it's just, that's the thing I always take away from it, is just like, damn, dude, if we could just get organized even for like 2 or 3 years, we could just fix everything. Like, the people really do have the power, at least right now, for a short window of time. But we really do. I mean,
but people have to understand that we are all in this together, and that there's organizations that want to drive us apart. And the way to work out our differences is having conversations and negotiations and figuring out how to work it out. It's not lighting cop cars on fire. Like, this is, you know.
Yeah. But the spirit of those, like, not to defend any of that crap, but that rebellious nature in us is important too, though. It just has to be directed correctly.
Right. You shouldn't be burning Waymos while holding a Mexican flag, trying not to get sent back to Mexico. I mean, you're confusing the fuck out of me, dog. Like, who is your oppressor? Is it the electric car? Is it the country which, you know, you want to stay, but you're holding a flag of another country? Like, why are you wearing a mask? Are you proud of this? Do you not want to get arrested? What are we doing? Are you scared of COVID? Like, I want to know.
Well, it goes back to what you said about mass manipulation, and also, like, we've all sort of lost our identity. That's why politics has become so prevalent in, like, the way people represent themselves to other people. And, like, you know, that's like, as our culture and our tradition and, like, sort of the knowledge of where our families and all of that stuff comes from, like, we're just little boats out in a big ocean, and we're looking for some kind of identity to reach out and grab. And politics, they make politics so easy to reach out and grab and make, just like in the same way that people just absorb themselves into sports.
Exactly.
You know, they're way out of shape, but they refer to their sports team as we. Like, our defense did really good.
Jamie does that all the time. We won. Talks about a college.
Where I'm from.
Some college where he's from.
Well, that's maybe.
Get out of here.
Maybe if he's from there, though, then it doesn't count.
I'm just fucking around.
Yeah.
I'm not a team sports guy, you know. I'm a combat sports guy, and I would never say we won. Like, if Kamaru Usman beats somebody, I never say we won. You know, Kamaru would call me up. What the fuck are you saying, man? We. You know what I did in camp? You know how many rounds I sparred? You know.
Yeah, all the punches you took.
It's so crazy, but if there's a group of guys, you can say we.
But that's
so silly.
I see that, like, I just see that becoming more and more prevalent, where there's not, like, I don't know. It's sort of just like, it's kind of even to expand on the thought of it, it's even like the way that now we've all just sort of, we're all in these subcategories the way we would be if we were in prison. We're all like, you know, like in the same way that when we use the word black and white to describe, like, how many different types of white and black are there that all just get merged? It's like, it like creates this maybe like group identity that's a lot easier to control. Like,
for sure. Well, and then
you know,
it shifts over time. Like, my family wasn't white. My family was Italian. They were disparaged when they first came to America from Europe. My grandfather used to tell me terrible stories of what happened to him when he was a boy, living in America as an Italian. They treated them the same way terribly racist people were treating people from Guatemala that sneak in here. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then after a while, they sort of integrated, and now I'm white.
Yeah, now you're just a white person.
Now I'm just a regular white.
But it's easy now in like in big public narrative and stuff it's a lot easier to accuse you and 30 other different nationalities of people who are all very culturally different and unique, and just call all of you white people, and then pick the worst thing that one of those nationalities did and just cast it among the whole group. But it happens with every ethnicity, every identity. The goal is to, like, put everyone in the world in one of 3 or 4 buckets, and then hopefully figure out how to just put all of them into one bucket eventually. It's like, it's so much easier to control 2 or 3 different types of people than it is 30 or 40 or 100 or 1,000,
right.
you know?
Which is also, I think, why they never fix the problems that ail our inner cities. They want to keep that conflict. I really believe that. Because if somebody wanted to have a better, stronger economy, the first thing you would do is you want more people in the workforce. So you'd want less people that are disenfranchised, completely out of society, felons, all that stuff. That doesn't do anything but cost the country money, right? Unless you have private prisons. Now, in private prisons, those people become a business, and then that business contributes to the escalation of laws. And they want to make sure the laws stay in place because that way their business is always full. They have plenty of customers. Their customers are human beings that they turn into batteries to generate money. That's what it is. It's like those people, every person they have in there, they get more money, which is wild. It's wild that we allow that. But then it's also like keeping a certain amount of crime in certain areas ensures that you're always going to have debates over law enforcement. You're always going to have conversations over disenfranchisement. We need DEI. We need this. We need quotas. We need to hire more people of this or of that, ignoring the fact that a lot of these things, especially with universities, are the most racist, especially towards Asians. They're racist as fuck towards Asians. There's lawsuits about it. Harvard, is that still going on, the Harvard lawsuit? Where they specifically made their application process, like the whole acceptance process, more difficult for Asians because they were kicking too much ass. They had too many like Asian people that were willing to fucking work their ass off, study 12 hours a day, get straight A's. They're like, man, there's too many of these folks. We got to make it tougher.
What did they do to make it more difficult specifically?
They attached a bunch of things. I believe the argument is they attached a bunch of things like social stuff. Like, how much do you engage in, activism? How often are you involved in, social activities on campus? What other things are you doing other than just pure academic work? They're like trying to slow them down. They're literally trying to slow them down.
Yeah, that's another great example too. Like even just that they can blanket Asian like that as such a
Right.
like
It's Indian, it's Chinese, there's a lot of, but
yeah,
people that come from a hard place are willing to work hard. That's the difference. And the problem with meritocracy is that some motherfuckers will go for it. And if you get a whole country of people going for it, that gets scary for the people that just want to take naps.
it's the same psychology that goes in like in a lot of the smaller Appalachian towns, like where we recorded was really close to Bramwell, West Virginia. But if you look at even if you look at Bramwell, West Virginia, and their recent political history, like the last mayor they had, she embezzled money from the town, and there was like, and this isn't a very small town, so government corruption exists like
Everywhere.
and it almost is like maybe in those big cities. I understand definitely that I think things are intentionally neglected, like to create chaos and to create this, like you said, this need for more resources and more. But it's also just that maybe a lot of those people that are in positions are just very spineless and self-centered, and like they don't even care that people are dying in their streets. They're worried about the money that can be made and the ego and the power of it. It goes back to kind of what I said in that ARC speech about lack of leadership. I just see that like if we had people in big cities or in small Appalachian towns that had like a real backbone to them and like and had they were in a real position of like leadership where they wanted to fix things, that a lot of that stuff would get addressed and covered. But we just don't have the right people in power, maybe even is what it is. Even in local and state government.
The right people don't run. They don't want that job, man. They don't want that smoke. They don't want people attacking them. They don't want any of it. The right people are the people that don't want to be president.
It's almost like they've made these positions only appealing to people who are like
Sociopaths.
Sort of criminals, sociopaths or criminals. Yeah.
For real. Like, who the fuck wants to run everything? You got to be crazy. I don't even like running my whole house. I don't like having employees. It's too much responsibility.
What do you think would happen if just some normal people ran the country, though? Like just some average Joes? Like, what if me and you just went and what if you ran for president? What would happen?
We would get killed. We'd get put in a fucking convertible.
They would definitely shoot. They would definitely be able to hit my big head. That's for sure.
Yeah,
they wouldn't.
My head's not that little either. You want a cigar?
Yeah, let's do it.
Get on that, big dog.
Well, I smoked a cigar with a guy one time that.
What happened? This is the second
It
cigar
ended
you've
up all
ever
on
smoked?
the internet. Yeah.
This is your second cigar ever?
Yeah.
Here,
Let's keep it running for a minute.
Yeah, just pull on it. The real cigar guys, they want you to do that first. You kind of bake the outside. There we
Hitting
go.
it like it's I'm in high school and it's like a fat joint.
Oh, imagine a joint like this. I guarantee you there's some people out there, some rappers rolling blunts this thick. You got to do it this way or they get mad at you.
Yeah, this is really good.
It's a Foundation Cigars.
Well, hey, I did smoke I smoked half a Black and Mild with Chris Davison from the Davison Brothers while we were on tour one time. So I guess that counts as a cigar.
Kind of a cigar. Like a Swisher Sweets, they kind of count as cigars.
I have talking about Swisher Sweets, I have a friend of mine that I ride side-by-sides with a lot, named Jeremy, and that's all he smokes are Swisher Sweets. And that's like anytime I see him, I'm like, yo, what's up, Swisher Sweet? So I ended up hitting him up on Instagram, Swisher Sweet, and I said, hey, I got a friend of mine. I was like, will you just send him some merch? And they totally did. Like, he got this whole, awesome. He got like all these shirts and hats and stuff. He's the only guy I know that smokes them, but he's like all day smoking them. He's he was in the Marines and stuff, and he's out now and just like rides a boat around all day and he's like lives his dream life now and smokes Swisher Sweets. So
I wonder what percentage of Swisher Sweets get sliced open for blunts. It's got to be 50, right? Jamie, higher? 60%.
Yeah, so like
5 or so.
75%.
Jeremy's the only guy I know who really smokes them without putting weed in them or anything. He
just likes them.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Does he inhale them?
Yeah.
Bro. Ron White does that with them little tiny.
Ron White.
Those little tiny cigars. What are those things called again, Jamie? We have a bunch of them.
Yeah, I don't know, like little cigarillos or something.
Yeah, he brought me a case of them.
Did I ever tell you my Ron White story?
No, I don't think so. Did you?
I'm gonna mess it all up, but that's okay because that's what this is for, is to mess stuff up. So it was the night we recorded. Gosh, my head is like spinning now from this thing. This is crazy. The night that the day that we recorded the podcast, that night is when we went to the mothership for the first time because Tom Segura invited me. And
right.
So we're sitting in there in the green room. Ron White's there and Tom and a bunch of people, William Montgomery, and I got to meet all these really cool people that night. And so Tom was like, man, you ought to get up at the end of our set and do a couple songs. And we only had one guitar, and I really wanted my guitar, Joey, the guy he's in the Scornful video, Joey Davis. I wanted him to get up there and get to do it with me. And Ron's like, well, I got a guitar in my house, and dude, he's supposed to be getting on stage to do a set in like less than an hour, 45 minutes. So him and Joey get in his car, and they run every red light from his house to the back and go and get Ron White's guitar, and that's what we used for our second.
15 minutes away. That was such a risky move.
Yeah, like he said, they flew there and back.
So you guys performed on stage at the mothership. That was the first time a musical act had ever performed there.
Supposedly, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Except for back when it was a musical venue.
Yeah.
I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan performed. You saw the photos that we have in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan performing there. I think it was 83. He was there.
I think I think even by the end of this weekend, we will be able to really have a good blueprint for sound in there again. Like it's a small room, but I think it would just sound. You could really have an immersive listening space for people to like. Just such a cool spot to maybe do music now and then.
Oh yeah, no, I think it would be a great spot to do music. It's just we're always packed with comedians. We'd only do it for someone like you for fun.
It could be a lot. Yeah, it could be like every once in a while. Like I love the idea of it being like a live recorded thing. Because my favorite music to listen to is the live version of almost anything anyway.
Oh yeah.
Of people, and it would be cool to go back and. I mean, our plan with this, we'll record Friday and Saturday night, and my plan is to put out some kind of mothership live at the mothership and have some of the money go back to the Humane Society.
Oh, that's awesome. That's beautiful.
We're gonna record it and just see what happens. But even if we just get a couple songs out of it or something and put them out.
Oh, that's badass.
But yeah, I like that. I really like the Austin Humane Society. They, I was looking at they got like some really funny dogs and stuff on there too. But I think it's cool getting to do something with them.
Yeah, I can't go to those places. I would have 100 dogs.
They got this one dog on their website. I should have sent it to you, but I don't know. Maybe Jamie can find it. But it's like there's this one like older dog. I think he's a Chihuahua or something. But he's got this real funny name like Buddy or Poppy or something. But he's like the most like he doesn't have any teeth. His tongue's hanging out. I was like, I could just take him home with me, Buddy or something.
I've had a bunch of rescue dogs in my life. There's a relationship you have with them that's different than any other dog. Like they love you so much. Mm-hmm. They're so happy you rescued them. Like they know that you rescued them. Whereas my dog Marshall, he has no idea. He's like living the best life. He's just like, everyone's my friend.
Yeah.
He's never fucking growled at a person in his life. He's nothing but sweet.
Think about how lucky you got to be Joe Rogan's dog. That's pretty cool. Like, what's the odds of that out of all the dogs?
Lucky am I to have a dog like him?
Yeah.
He's the best dog ever.
Yeah, I know.
He's like a little human. He's like a human. Like we have conversations. Like he knows like not just words. He knows like when I'm saying something, like what to do. Like me and that dog are like locked in. It's wild. He's the best. He's just all love.
Yeah.
Like for everybody that comes over, like when people come over the studio and he's here, he just does a circle. He's like, "I'm your friend," and then it looks you, "I'm your friend," and he goes around and he sees you. The first thing he does is flop on his back. Like, I know you want to rub my belly. Come on.
Yeah.
He's just so used to being just loved on.
Yeah. I just got I had three dogs, and then I lost my white shepherd like right after we got off a tour. He got bone cancer, and he was gone within like a month or a month and a half.
It's a really important thing that we should probably tell people about right now when we're talking about cancer. Stop feeding your dog processed food. I know it's expensive, but if you can get your dog real food. There's companies like Farmer's Dog. That's what you use, right? Farmer's Dog, and they'll send you like real food. And you feed your dog real food. It's like real human-grade meat and vegetables. Your dog will be way better off, just like you would be way better off. Anything that can sit on a shelf for 6 months and not rot is not good for you.
Yeah.
It just sustains them, And then, obviously dogs are running around drinking out of puddles, and who knows what fucking toxins they're exposed to.
Mine eat a lot of like horse shit and stuff too. They're obsessed with it, but they
you're gonna get a healthier dog if you feed them real food. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a cure to all ills, but man, it fixed my dog quick. Marshall was starting to get a little chubby, and we were trying to lessen his food, but he was always hungry, and I was like, this sucks. And then we found out the company that I was using is Maeve, M-A-E-V, and they sell you frozen food, and he eats it frozen, and it's just meat and vegetables, and he fucking loves it, and he gobbles it up, and he lost the body weight, his coat looked better, he had way more energy. I'm like, of course, he's eating real food instead of eating some processed bullshit that's filled with preservatives. You could sit on a fucking shelf for, like, if you only ate protein bars all day long and nothing but protein bars, you'd probably get sick.
Yeah.
How is that thing just sitting there? Like, how can you just live off of that?
Plus, you got to get tired of eating the same thing every day.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Like at this point, I mean, I feel like for your dog, he might as well live a pretty cool life. He's got, he's Joe Rogan's dog. He can't just be eating regular dog food anyway.
People don't know, though. They think dog food is what you give dogs. That's the problem. Like, they need to understand, like, dogs are just like any other animal, like human beings. What they eat has a giant effect on their overall physical health.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been feeding mine eggs. We've got a bunch of laying birds now and meat birds and stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
But they just eat raw eggs.
How long do your meat birds live before you whack them?
So I've got some now that are about 2 weeks old, and they'll be gone before it starts to cool off. It's quick. It's I want to say like 2.5 months with them. They get to the point where they get so fat they actually can't hold themselves up anymore.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Because I don't have meat birds, I have egg-laying hens, and these little ladies just run around all day long.
You just let you run loose?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I do the chicken tractors, but then I will let them out during the day some too, just so they can run around. But
yeah, it's good for them, makes the eggs healthier. But
they're hilarious to watch too. They're just great.
My friend who runs, he has meat ones, and he said he waits until their legs break. And I go, what? He goes, they get so big that their legs break, and that's when you kill them. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what did we do to these fucking chickens?
It's kind of sick, yeah.
It is totally sick, because I'm seeing my chickens that are years old just running around, and these fucking chickens get to be 2 months old, and their legs break from the weight of their bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of depressing, but that's why, at least in their short life, I try to let them get us some sunshine and run around and read stories to him at night and all that, and that way it's not so bad. That way it doesn't feel like I'm just a horrible dictator, like a chicken dictator or something.
The amount of chickens that get whacked in this country every year is crazy.
Yeah, and honestly, raising birds in your yard is so much better than buying them from Tyson or something like that.
Oh, so that's a regular chicken on the left from 1957, and then by the time 1978 rolled around, we got them pretty fat.
It just looks kind of like what happened with all of us from back then till now.
And, probably no coincidence. We're all eating terrible food too. But I think there's something going on with their genetics too. I think they look at that thing. That's crazy. Look at the size of that butterball.
Yeah,
That looks like a fucking soccer ball. Isn't that nuts? That's nuts. That's a chicken? That is fucking insane. Look at that one sitting there in a ball. Look at that one that's in a ball. Look at that. That is bananas. Wow.
Yeah, they're still my favorite. I've tried I do guinea birds, turkeys, and we've tried a few different types of chickens and stuff, but
Turkey's overrated. Turkey's good.
they're funny. Oh, yeah, to eat, they're probably
eat.
overrated, but they're really funny in person.
They're
Yeah.
good. They're good to eat if you eat them right after you get them out of the oven, or if it's going to be on a sandwich with a bunch of other shit on it. Otherwise, they're dry and boring. It's a weird bird. It's a bird that, like, somehow or another, it became our holiday bird. You know what I mean? It's very strange.
They make this real guttural noise. It's like a vibration more than a noise. But the males, they have this like crazy, like I don't even know how to describe it. But it's like that. It's a noise they make internally that you can hear.
Yeah?
It sounds like a UFO. It sounds like when you're getting sucked up in a UFO, or it's just crazy noise like that. Yeah.
Oh, really?
But they're like dogs to me. I've got a couple of Timmy and Tommy, and they
They
run
hang out
around
with
the yard. Yeah, well, I did. Timmy's in the freezer, but we still got Tommy. So
Tommy's still your friend. Tim. Breakthrough on the birds domesticated and a gene. There it is. That played a key role came in 2010 with a study of the genomes of 8 different populations of present-day chickens from around the world. Researchers found that they all carry 2 copies of one version of a gene called the thyroid-stimulating hormone receptor, which apparently set in motion changes that plumped up the birds. This dominant version of the gene, or allele, had swept through all the domesticated chickens regardless of whether they were broilers bred for size, or strains bred for laying many eggs. Although the precise function of the gene is not known, it regulates metabolism, reproduction, so probably stimulated chickens to lay more eggs year-round. So big-ass chickens that lay more eggs.
It started off, it's from a decree from a pope 1,000 years ago.
Whoa.
They didn't want ban on 4-legged animals.
What?
Yeah.
They got tough and banned meat from 4-legged animals on fasts. On fasts, which numbered 130 days out of the year. Damn, 130 fasts? What were they doing back then?
Yeah, you couldn't eat, like, you had to fast all of Lent, which is 40 days. That's like the Easter fast. You probably had to do it again around Christmas.
But when they say fast, but you could eat chicken?
Yeah, they
Well,
did,
that's
like,
not a fast.
or fish.
That's bullshit. Yeah, the Lent thing when I was a kid, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember.
I don't know. I
fish on Friday.
I don't think that the Catholic Church. I just can't imagine the Catholic Church ever coming out with some kind of decree that just doesn't make total sense, though. You know, for everybody to have to follow. I don't know.
Forever.
I'm sure there's some. Yeah, forever. I'm sure there's some reasonable explanation.
Yeah, they definitely have it dialed in.
Yeah, it's not like churches 1,000 years ago would ever do anything that didn't make a lot of sense. So.
Well, I think back then, when did they stop being allowed to have wives and shit? When did that happen? Like, when did the Catholic Church put a ban? Like, when did they make it so that everybody had to be celibate? Boy, what a stupid idea that was. You want to get people completely disconnected from society and sexually insanely repressed? Just, you give them saltpeter and tell them they can't beat off.
It became canon law in the 11th century, later reinforced at the Council of Trent, 1545. So I bet it sounds like there's 300, 400 years of a little slippery times.
What do you think? Ultimately, what is the motive? It's all control, obviously, but just it's crazy to think about all the things that, the church. At one point in time, the church was almost like the power structure. They were like the government for a long time.
For Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had immense power. The Pope would decide whether or not armies were going to be sent places.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Yeah, and if you look at the Vatican, you go, "Oh, this is what you guys did. You fucking stole everybody's art." They have so much art. Like, how'd you get this?
Yeah.
How did you get billions of dollars in art? I mean, it's kind of cool. I love the fact that it's there and you can visit it. And you should visit it if you've never been to the Vatican. It's fucking bananas.
In a way, it's like there's always been somebody trying to use a moral high ground to control other people. Like now, it's the opposite, right? It's like now it's like the people opposite of church sort of like trying to control people through this moral authority of like this is what's right, and like this sort of new society that we have to live in where everything has to be comfortable and nobody's allowed to be offended, and we're not, and it's like all this. That's like the same authoritarian psychology that was in the old church. It's like this is the moral. You have to follow this because it's the moral high ground of and you're not allowed to speak it. It's like it's always somebody trying to control somebody else with this virtuous bunch of propaganda that, and it. Yeah, it's fun. Like I was talking, most of the people on my team, I say most, there's only really 4 of us now, like in my music business, but 2 of them are from Ireland, and my tour manager was telling me about like growing up in Dublin when he was younger, I guess like back in the 70s or 80s, and the, like just the stigma within the church and all the, like, so much stuff that the church was doing wrong that would get kind of covered up and brushed to the side, and it's just it's really crazy when you read into all that, like how much corruption existed back then. It's like now it's easy to point to corruption in government and in society and everything else, but it's not like the church is more dead now than it is corrupt, I'd say. But back then it was just like this power hungry thing, that to me, that's not real church. That's just, like I said, that's just government or a regime using church as using God as a way to control people, but it's a lot different than what church should be or could be.
For sure. I mean, that's just a function of human beings when they get in power. Human beings, when they get in power, they want more power. Like if you're in the automobile business, and you're making cars, you want to make more cars. I want to make more cars. I want to sell more cars.
Yeah.
Got to sell more cars. If I'm in the power business, I want more power. I don't want this amount of power. I want more power. These people are trying to take my power away. I want extra power. The best way to keep them from taking my power away is to get more power and get it so that they can never take my power away. Lock it down. Make the elections bullshit. Make it like Russia. Hey, Putin won again. Everybody clap.
Have you seen that video that went around recently of, I think it was in Romania, but there was like an overthrow that happened in a day. It was like it was from back in the 80s. It was a dictator it was over Romania, I believe. I don't know. I'm not on the internet a whole lot anymore, thankfully. But I remember watching a bit of this video where this is like a Romanian dictator he had been in power for like 20 years and had done a lot of oppressive stuff, but overall was like maintaining power. And then at some point, a police officer or a military official or something shot, I think like a preacher or a pope or something, and the dictator dude took the side of the police, and it sort of was like a cultural shift. And basically, like, he went to give this big speech, and all these people showed up, and they had applause playing over loudspeakers, but really the crowd was there to like mob. And within like a day, they had like taken the whole government over. The whole military turned against them. It was a big video that just got uploaded about it, like maybe a month ago. I think it was Romania, I believe. But it was so quick. It was like he went from being in this position of power and like ruling over everything and having just extreme wealth and the whole military at his disposal to everyone turning on him, and he was publicly executed, I think the day after that speech. But that was just something I watched. Here we go, yeah.
Executing a dictator, open wounds of Romania's Christmas revolution. Whoa, they did it on Christmas. Damn. Wow. And there's a video on this?
Yeah, there's a video on YouTube that somebody sent me that I was watching through. It just showed though, going back to like if enough people have their minds made the same way, they can just pretty much do anything.
Wow.
But I believe it was within like a 2-day period that all this happened. He went from being in power to being publicly executed, and they held up elections afterwards, and I don't know all the history of it. I know very little, but it's just something that seemed really interesting to me that I was never taught this in school or anything. I know that, but of course I didn't pay a whole lot of attention while I was there either. So maybe I did get taught. I don't know.
There's been so much war in that part of the world, man, for so long. It's like baked into the ground. The crazy shit that's going on in Ukraine right now. Have you seen that they're flying these drones that you can't jam? And the way they are, they have like miles of fiber optic cable attached to them.
Yeah.
This is so crazy. They're like fishing. They're like fishing with a drone. And now birds are making like nests out of this fiber optic stuff. They're picking it up and like, oh, this is perfect. Make a little nest with this shit.
Did you see how they got those drones in for the attack on the planes recently?
What did they do? They
They
drove them in trucks, right?
Yeah, they were like, I don't know if buried is the right word, but they were like secretly in the trucks, and then like they all came out at once or something. Like the roofs opened up of these like log cabins or something.
They all came out and they all went out and attacked all the
Roofs of
planes.
sheds. There were sheds loaded on the trucks. that were stuck around the
pretty
perimeter.
fucking ingenious, man. And they said it took like a year and a half to come up with this plan.
This will change war forever, though, I guess. I mean, artificial intelligence will, too.
I'm reading a book about it right now. It's a fiction book, one of the Gray Man books, that is specifically about using autonomous weapons. It's The Chaos Agent by Mark Graney. It's about a guy who's this billionaire who develops this autonomous weapons program. But they're doing that. They're doing that right now, and we don't know like how advanced China stuff is. Like, but we know their drones are insanely advanced. Like their drone shows that they put on, they just put on another one recently, like the largest ever drone show. And you watch these coordinated things in the sky that are creating images, and you're like, that 100% could be a weapon. Like that thing you can get that thing to be so precise. They coordinate together. All you'd have to do is like put a suicide drone, look at this thing. Look at these things, bro. These are drones. How nuts is this? I mean, that is fucking bananas. Look at that. I mean, it's crazy.
I've heard, this is all just generalization stuff, but I've heard people make pretty compelling arguments about like, all these sort of like prophetic visions of the end of times, all the stuff in the sky and all the imagery and all that a lot of that could be. I don't know. I see a time coming very soon where warfare is conducted with these drones and also with like probably ground machinery too. Like you see, they've got Tesla bots and other variants of that are able to catch tennis balls and organize groceries, and these things are all fed off of artificial intelligence, which knows everything about all of us collectively. It sees where we go and what we do and what we say and what we shop for and what we look for and how we drive, and it's like this, almost like this very godlike thing. And I don't think that it even matters whose AI it is, if it's China or ours or some private company. I think it's like at some point it will just be the thing. It won't even be China's AI anymore. It will just be.
Yeah, it'll say "fuck you, China." We're taking over. We don't believe in countries. We believe in the hive mind.
How do you stop that? Like, how do you like? It goes into industry and creativity and almost everything that a human can provide outside of very select few things can be emulated and replicated and done by it. It makes us practically irrelevant in the eyes of.
In a lot of ways. It doesn't make us irrelevant in art, because you're always going to want art from a person. You're always going to want art. You're always going to want paintings from a real person. You're always going to want music from a real person. You're always going to want...
I don't know, though. Like, I think AI is already, like, deeply ingrained in music. I don't know. I'd bet a lot that most of the new the big hot songs that get written and just I think AI drives all that. I know for a short period of time I used a social media company in Nashville. There was also a period of time that I used a management company in Nashville. And both of those girls I worked with at both of those companies who were helping me with social media stuff, they even had AI like trying to write my captions and stuff. And I would always just like, it was always the most dumb sounding stuff, but it was like, if they would take pictures from after a show or something, and they would want to make a post on Instagram the next day that says, "Oh, had so much fun in this town. I'll never forget it. Can't wait to see you next time." And it was just like this little. They had like a little thing, but it pre-wrote all these based off of like how I wrote in the past and stuff. And it's weird how it goes back to what you said about most of what's on the internet isn't real anyway. But I think in music, AI is much more prevalent than we realize. I just think it's like kept in people aren't going to say that they're using it, but I think like in these big songwriter circles and things where you have to generate 20 or 30 songs a week, and like there's all this pressure. I mean, like, and that's your job, and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, like I can't go back and live with my parents. I don't know. I don't see how people aren't. People use AI in almost every job now. I know like people who are in sales who use it to like help them manage their customer bases and who they're going to call on and what they're going to. I don't know. I think it's already become ingrained in us. We're already so addicted we're so reliant to technology. It's pitiful, just like how hard it is to walk around without a phone,
Yeah,
like,
we're integrated.
Even with when I had periods of time where I knew I had months off, and I would always I got to the point where I weaned myself down to like this. I bought a flip phone from Walmart that still runs on a Verizon SIM. But that's what I'd carry, and 2 or 3 people knew mine. But even then, I always felt like I at least had to have a flip phone on me in case, like, what happens if you're out in the woods and break your leg, or I don't know where, like, but they are now a part, like, those phones are a part of us. We don't go anywhere without them.
You
We feel
never have
naked.
no phone.
We feel vulnerable without them, so.
I know. You really do. Like, if you go for a quick walk without a phone, you're like, oh my God. I'm out of
So when the time comes, when it's like, if there even is a definitive time, but it's like when we have to choose between integrating with AI and not, most people are going to do it.
Yeah,
Most people will just immediately submit and be a part of it, and be maybe even excited to be a part of it.
It probably won't be a decision that you're allowed to make. It's probably something that's going to be, if you want to function in society, you have to integrate.
Like we talked about in that text about how it feels like we're in an alternate dimension, and it seems like there's these like things coming. You know, it's like it is just because things happen so fast and chaotic that we can't really keep up with anything. One day the submarine collapses, and the next day this other crazy thing happens, and then, you know, I don't know, it's just like it's so hard to keep up with anything of what's really going on. I think the problem is that we have to start having people gather together again and hang out, and not just make all of our hangouts digital, because the systems, like you said, there's bots and algorithms and marketing approaches and psychology that's just deeply rooted, that goes into like just the way we fundamentally communicate now as societies, and just globally. Like we all just talk on, I mean, gosh, I've used this example before somewhere talking, but it's like, I think about back when I was in high school, like my high school girlfriend, you know, we would have some trivial argument about something. There was no way that me and her were going to text and figure out how to fix that. And now, you know, like, and that was a high school relationship, like that was over something stupid. It's like real world problems you can't fix just texting. And I don't think we can fix all this shit on X and Facebook and all that. I think I think people we're almost to the point now where we prefer socializing on the internet, because it's almost like our minds have become more adapted to think that way. But we're in this digital world chasing and emulating all of the things that we have this void from not having in real life. Like, I don't know. It makes it very complicated to fix anything when the only way that we have this amazing, intricate English language where all these words can mean all these different things, and it's so easy to put everybody together in a digital space with AI and bots and manipulation and algorithms and big companies. And how do you fix all that in that space? It's just like it's like in a house, we're just in a house of mirrors, you know?
Yeah, you're supposed to not engage. That's what people need to stop doing. But the problem is the consequences of the actions of the rest of the world do affect you if they're big. And so you worry about the big ones. So you pay attention. So you got to pay attention to the bad news of 8 billion people, which is just unsustainable. And it's also this ability to interact or not interact as you choose all throughout the day. Like, you don't have to be invested in a conversation. If you and I have a conversation and you ask me about something and I start to answer and I just wander off, you're like, well, how fucking rude. But on the internet, that's normal. Like, somebody posts something, somebody will have a response an hour later and nobody cares. It's like, I guess he was busy.
Yeah.
You know, it's normal because you're engaging and not engaging. It's very unhuman. All of it is unhuman. And it's all like constant, even if you think you're immune to it, there's this constant input of other people's thoughts into your own that makes you foggy. It gives you, like, I was talking to Sugar Sean O'Malley about it once, and he said, I get a low-level anxiety just scrolling. I'm like, yeah, right? Like, what is that?
I think it's on purpose, though. That's captive. It keeps you engaged, though. You know?
Yeah, but I don't even know if it's on purpose. I mean, I think it's just they figured it out along the way that people get engaged like that. Like, that's why when you open up TikTok, it immediately starts playing you things. Like, you're on the hook right away. The Instagram, you got to choose. Like, sometimes you might get a picture of someone's dog, aw, and then you scroll up and it's a music video, and then you scroll up and it's a guy getting assassinated, and you get to choose. You know, with TikTok, they just start hammering you.
Even with Instagram, it seems very flashy. Like, there's always stuff, you know, and there's always, sex always ends up somewhere in it. Like, something gets popped up or whatever, and you just...
It's all for engagement, and that's, your attention is what's worth so much money, which is so strange. It's so strange, your data and your attention. And nobody thought about the data part. Boy, if we thought about the data part and they set up different regulations back in the 1990s when AOL first burst onto the scene, if they realize, like, oh, data is going to be one of the most valuable things, and tech companies that do nothing but offer you free email and a free search engine are going to be the biggest fucking companies in the world, and it's because of your data. And they're going to be like siphoning off your data without telling you about it, and they're even going to be lying about it. They're going to be running like little secret things where they're snatching up your contact list and snatching up your email and all your friends and trying to get them to buy shit. It's like, wow.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, even just, that's what I mean, even just the little bit of access I have to my fan base and like the reports that can be ran on like what they do and who they are, and like it's seeing it from that side is just, it just really, it goes back to, like I said, just saying that I think for right now in society, our job is to feed this machine, and so, and it just knows entirely too much about all of us. And that's very important in every aspect, whether it's in like comedy, music, any kind of pop culture, like everything, all of our reactions and behaviors to what is presented to us on these platforms only makes it refined down even further, and they're able to see like your lookalike audiences and what they look at and where they shop and what they like and what their retention is on certain videos that have this certain type of thing. And it's like this whole it's just a lot of psychology that goes into it that people don't realize. It's very easy to download the app and get on there and look.
But you don't have to pay attention to it. You could just be yourself. Well, that's also possible.
I just couldn't find a way to be on there and still. The only time I'm ever on my profiles is if I'm with Draven or somebody and we're like looking through comments together and replying to stuff or doing things, but I haven't had anything logged in on any of my devices since last November.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, that's the thing that I was saying about what AI can't recreate in music. Yeah, I'm sure there's AI songs, and there was a great AI song by Drake that they made that they had to get removed, right? Don't they remove those? I think so. But people still want to hear the real shit. Like, the reason why your song became so popular was because you could really see it's just a guy with a guitar, like standing, grass behind him and shit, and a dog in the background.
There's 1,000 more people that are way better than me that are in that same space, and I think my dream of this long term is to figure out how to like how do you get all those people into the limelight? Like what I've been working on since, I guess, the one important thing to drill home to people too, as a follow-up since the last time we were here, it goes back to that first conversation we had, but you remember I was arguing that I really wanted to put all the money from Richmond into a nonprofit and not ever even touch it, because I didn't want all that. I felt like it wasn't my money. I felt like all those people went out of the way and supported me and like blew all these other huge songs off the chart, and I wanted to, and then you said, well, no, don't do that because nonprofits are sketchy and people are corrupt, and like, just keep the money yourself and then figure out how to do good with it. And that was the biggest thing I walked away from that first conversation we had. And so, now it's like, that's the one thing I do want people to know too, though, is like that Richmond money and everything. It's went to do a lot of, and what I think will be in the long run, a lot of important things. I've been buying. Most of it's went towards buying land and stuff, but I've got this whole kind of crazy thing. I'm like just a way for people to unscrew their minds, to get reconnected into nature. And
you gonna be a cult leader?
I was thinking about it. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about I might try to get with Vermin Supreme. He's got this cool idea about everybody having a free pony and stuff, and I think that would work out. You ever seen him, Vermin?
No. Who's that guy?
Vermin Supreme.
Do you know who he is, Jamie?
He runs for president. I think he's from Connecticut, maybe. He runs for president every time. He has a big boot on his head.
What?
Yeah.
How do I not know this guy?
Yeah. He's hilarious. There's a video of him from that New Hampshire. There's a video of him from that New Hampshire primary.
How do I not know about this guy? He has a boot on his head?
He says he's going to take everyone's guns away, but he'll give you ones that are better.
Says he runs on gingivitis and zombie power.
He has a mandatory toothbrushing policy, and he'll say things like, well, no, it doesn't have anything to do with the toothbrushing control camps and the dental hygiene authoritarian center, or I don't know. He just
give me some video of this cat. Oh my God, I gotta hear him talk.
The best one of him is from that Connecticut. That one, like where he's wearing the yellow jacket, wherever that video is. There you go.
Thank you. Gingivitis has been eroding the gum line of this great nation long enough and must be stopped. For too long, this country has been suffering a great moral and oral decay.
This guy's
in
got
spirit
a duck
and
boot
in
on his head.
fibers. A country's future depends on its ability to bite back. We can no longer be a nation indentured. Our very salvation is at stake. Together, we must brace ourselves. As we cross over to the bridge work, into the 23rd century, let us bite the bullet and together make America a sea of shining smiles from sea to shiny sea. Now, friends, some people will tell you that this mandatory toothbrushing law is about the secret dental police kicking down your door at 3 a.m. to make sure you've brushed. Friends, it is not. Some will mention the dental re-education centers or the preventative dental maintenance detention facilities. It's about none of these things. It's not about the government-issued toothpaste containing an addictive yet harmless substance. No, friends, it is not even about DNA gene splicing to create a race of winged monkeys to act as tooth fairies. Friends, what this mandatory toothbrushing law is really about is strong teeth for a strong America. My name is Vermin.
What does this guy do for a living? He looks like an open mic that you would find at the Comedy Store.
He looks like somebody that would be on like a Kill Tony, but he runs every time and he just tries to make, like at the very end of this, whoever the guy is beside him running, he's like sprinkles dust all over him and says he's going to make him gay, and so I don't know. He's just in there making a mockery of it, I guess, you know. But
that's funny.
But yeah, that's who I'll have to team up with him for my cult or whatever, my toothbrushing cult.
100%. You need him on board. He needs to be the toothbrush guy. If you're gonna have a cult, you can't have stinky breath.
Yeah,
you gotta keep it together.
But yeah, that's maybe it's like a cult or something. I don't know.
Helping other musicians that have talent, like giving them a vehicle, that's huge, man. Like, cause there's a lot of people that just don't know how to get started, and sometimes the thing that makes you a brilliant musician or even a brilliant comic makes you bad at promoting, because you're not thinking about yourself. You're like really locked into the work. You're really locked into your thing. And it takes someone who's really thinking about themselves a lot and promoting themselves. It's a totally different mindset to be like the social media guy, like to be like really into like social media videos and really into like promoting your gigs and you know, so like a lot of guys fall by the wayside because they just never put their stuff out there. Like there's some brilliant comics like I don't want to make a special. Like you should put this out, man. This is great stuff. But they just want to kill. They just want to go up. Their thing every night is get on that stage and do the thing right and then rewrite it. I mean, go back.
It's also the attention and stuff of it. It's the not. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I kind of laugh when all this happening. It was with the Scornful song. I remember I called Draven like right after everything went up and everything was starting to move, and I was like, oh, what have we done? You know, like. Here we go. Here comes the New York Post is going to come showing up again at my grandparents' house next week again or whatever. And it's just like, but I think it's also just people just maybe don't want the attention. There's a lot of really funny, genuine people that do comedy, but and they can they can get up there and have enough attention on them to do the comedy, but they don't want to be like, hey, look at me. I mean, I fight that constantly. Even like that little video where we were going in the plane yesterday, and I said, "Plane by day, Joe Rogan pod." You know, like I don't. Even just making little videos like that, I feel way out of place. Like I don't want people to think like I'm saying, "Hey, look at me," you know. I mean, that's why I try to go through these periods where I just don't post or
At
upload.
least you were in a regular airport. You know, the
Southwest.
The worst is when people are doing those things in front of a private jet. I'm like, okay, we get it. You're rich. You know, if people try to take photos of me in front of a jet, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so not into this. I'm not. I don't like the attention. I don't want it. I don't need it. Which is weird because I got a lot of it, and I think it's probably why I have a lot of it. It's because I'm not looking for it.
Yeah, but you're also you're channeling it out through all these other. I mean, think about all the things that you've influenced and been a part of and done, even just through this podcast and all the conversations had and the information shared. Like, it's not like you're just posting a bunch of pictures with your shirt off, like, hey, look at me. Like, you're using it. I mean, I don't know. I almost would say I don't know that it's a coincidence that you got put in this spot for a lot of reasons. I mean, there's a lot you probably don't even look at it that way, but there's a lot of important things that come out of this, and all the other podcasts you've inspired that have done. I mean, gosh, dude, there's no way to even calculate what if you had never been born, there's no way to calculate how different things would be now. Like,
Well,
that's important to think about, though. You know, like it's
sort of. But from my perspective, I was just one piece in this thing that happened.
yeah,
And, you know, that's why I always have my friend Adam Curry on, who's the original. He's the podfather. Without him, there would be none of this. He figured out a way to do this. And, you know, and then also Anthony Cumia from Opie and Anthony and Tom Green. Those are my number one influences. And then Adam Carolla already had a podcast when I started. I was like, oh, Adam went from radio to the internet. Maybe I could do that. I remember going to his place and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's back when we were doing it on a little laptop. I'm like, wow, Adam has like a real studio. He's got employees and shit. And then, you know, we just kept doing it. You know, and then eventually it was webcams. Okay, now it's not just a laptop camera, it's actual webcams. Okay, now maybe we should get like real cameras. Okay, let's get real cameras. And then like maybe we should get a fucking studio. So we tried it at the Ice House for a little bit. Like maybe I should get another place. Then we got another place. I'm like, I think I need a warehouse. And then like, I think I need armed security. I think I need fucking special ops guys around me all the time. And then it just kept going, man. I remember the moment, I've talked about this before, but I didn't understand what was happening until one day I was on stage in Chicago. And I think this was 2012. So I think it was around then. So the podcast was only 3 years old, and I didn't realize how many people watched it or listened. A lot of it was listening at the time. Because I don't look at the numbers. I just kind of I feel like all that's bad for you. You know, reading the comments, looking at the numbers. I just like, do what you do. That's why I do it exactly the same way. I have a bunch of people on that no one has ever heard of, you know, and then a few Bonos and stuff, you know. Every now and then I'll have Russell Crowe on, something crazy. Like, whoa, that guy's here. Dennis Quaid's here. This is nuts.
yeah. Your Mel Gibson one was good.
Yeah, oh, he's the best.
Yeah.
But I was on stage in Chicago and I was telling the story about the podcast. I go, how many guys listen to the podcast? And he went, yeah. It was like 3,700 people in this place. And they were all screaming. I went, whoa.
Yeah.
That's when I realized, like at that moment, I was like, holy shit, how big is this thing gonna get? And this is another funny thing. When I went over to Spotify, I was trying to get 10% less famous. That was my goal. My goal was to fade away. My goal was, like, if somebody has to pay me and you have to go to this app to get it, all the people that are getting it, the other apps, will probably stop listening.
Yeah.
Like, this would be great. I'll get all the money, and I'll just fucking drift into this place where it's only, like, the hardcore fans that make the trek over to Spotify. And then this fucking COVID thing happened. I remember in the beginning of the podcast, we lost 50% of our views, and Jamie was in a hot panic.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant earlier about not putting a lot of songs out. There's there's some cool place where you can be where you have your real fans and you're having fun, but you're not into all the sensationalism, all the crap, you know, like.
You can avoid all that. You're a real guy. You're a real dude. And I think one of the ways that the world has prepared you for this is that you've lived a normal life for a long time. You know, a normal life with no live performances, no notoriety, no fame, no nothing. You developed like when people want to hear working man songs, you fucking know Bruce Springsteen isn't a working man. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he probably was never really a working man. He was never working on the docks. You know what I mean? He was never really a guy grinding it out. He became famous pretty fucking young. You know, Bruce Springsteen and the Eat Street Band, they got hot early. Like, they're great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, especially as early, Born to Run, fuck. He's got some jams, dude.
Yeah.
He's got some great songs. You know, Brilliant Disguise. Oh, I fucking love that song. But you're a real working man. Like, you were a real working man when you made Rich Men North of Richmond. Like, that is real. And you can't fake that. And people want that. They want a fucking trucker hat. They want ripped jeans. They don't want, like, ripped jeans that are ripped from work. You know what I mean? They don't want, like, real oil stains on your knees because you're fixing your own car. You know? Like, that's what people want in this world. They want authenticity. And it's possible to maintain authenticity regardless of how big you get. It is possible. And I think you can do it. I think you can do it because you got here later in life. You got here and lived a real life, and then you made it into magical fantasy land where we all live.
Yeah, well, the thing that I've gotten the most from you, like I said, I don't look at my streaming numbers or anything either. That's what I mean. Like when I finally did go back and look at Spotify, after a year and a half later, it's just like, oh my God, like this is still the thing, you know? But so I agree with you there. I don't look at the numbers. I do catch myself reading a lot of the comments, but only because a lot of them are important, and I think some of the stories in them are important for me to. I don't want to completely isolate myself from that. And like I said, I also really like some of the negative ones too, I think. And the negative ones are a lot less now than they used to be. It was just really early on. People didn't understand how everything happened. And I really didn't understand it either. That's why it's like, whatever, you know. But moving forward now, yeah, I've got a good core team of people. I've got Draven from Radio WV. I've got 2 or 3 people on staff. I don't have a management company or a publicist.
Perfect. That's the key.
I'm keeping it real
tight.
Real low. Well, I mean, it amazed me when I came here for the first time and saw the staff you have, and then meeting Lex. You know, Lex does all of it. He even turns his own cameras on and stuff.
Yep.
There's only Lex in the whole place. It's like, gosh, I don't need all these. It's like a lot of those positions and jobs and services that musicians use, I think they don't realize that they don't even need. They just are like, oh, that's how it is in music. That's what I want to change. I want to. Yeah, I don't know exactly.
It eliminates the executive influence. It eliminates the corporate mindset. It eliminates that because there's always going to be a person that wants you to make a decision that's better for you financially. Whereas your instincts are guiding you towards this artistic decision.
Yeah.
And anytime those people get in the mix, they fuck everything up.
I'll give you a great example. It's the only call out on here that's negative that I'll say at all is that just to show how stuck in the mud the industry is and how much I think it's going to change in the near future is leading up to the Scornful release, me and Draven had went back and found about 30 or 40 people who just, without us even knowing who they were, made the Richmond reaction videos, and they were a big part of the push of it, especially long term, people on TikTok and stuff that had made these videos. And so I own 100% of my publishing, all the music's mine. Thankfully, I have my own label technically that collects the money, but you have to use a publishing administration deal in order to collect money overseas. I don't know if you're familiar, if it's the same in comedy, but most any musician, whether you're independent or you're with somebody, you have to have some kind of pub admin. And it's basically somebody that goes and helps you collect publishing money from basically mostly from overseas is the way I understand, all these obscure places that money exists. So Warner Chappell does it for me for 9%, right? So they go collect all the stuff, they keep 9% of it. They're the same to me as if I had a commercial landscaping company managing a property for me. So all I asked them to do was, hey, Warner Chappell, this 6-foot square of grass where all these reaction videos exist, just please whitelist these people so they don't get copyrighted. I want them to actually make the money they make on the Scornful reaction videos, I don't feel right if they're going to go and make a Scornful Woman reaction video or play drums over it or whatever. I don't want to take 50% of what, you know what I mean? Just don't just whitelist them. And it should have been, okay, great, good idea, Instead, they just said, we can't do that, but it's for your protection. So
because they wanted the money.
So
did they get a percentage? Or how do they get paid?
Well, they take 9% off of what I get.
They don't want.
But I tried to explain to them, well, no, in the business sense, I even counter-argued them, and I was like, well, let's think about it in the business sense. This little bit of money, right, that you're not going to collect off these reaction videos will generate who knows how much traffic to the music, which is worth the money you really want. And it shouldn't matter anyway. It's not their shit to decide on. It's mine. It's the same thing as if I hired a guy to cut the grass at my commercial property and said, don't cut the 6-foot square. And they're like, no, we're cutting it. We're cutting all the grass, and it's for your. So I had to get my attorney involved and spend $4,000. And they whitelisted them for 30 days. And so I'm like, okay, that's why all of you industry people are so, it's that's why this is happening. That's why it's I don't know, just they don't care at all about the little guy or the people who are doing all the work. I just picture all these stinky librarian type old people sitting around a table rah, rah, rah. And they can make all this money and make all these horrible decisions and pour all these millions of dollars into songs that don't work, and it doesn't matter because it's just it's not their. They don't care. They're getting their big salary and So yeah, it's just even in the most minuscule relationships I've had in Nashville, I get resistance and pushback and I don't know, like, why wouldn't they want me to whitelist those 30 people? It's just little stupid stuff like that that I've constantly dealt with. So I've just decided now, like, I just don't want to do anything in the music. Like, I don't even need to be in the music business, like, in that sense, you know? I write my songs, I record them, I go do my shows and have fun, but I don't even need to follow any of the model of what like a traditional musician, artist person would have done.
You definitely don't need to
10 years ago,
financially.
you know?
You don't need to do it that way. It's not necessary. And you have the right mindset, is that all those reaction videos will just get more people to listen to your music. That's fact.
But those are real, those people were like real fans who went and did it not because they were trying to get traffic or money or whatever. They just like liked it and wanted to push it. And so the least I can do is not take 50% of their stuff. And like, but isn't that crazy that it's like there's, nobody's ever done that, I guess, like before. They were just acting like that was just the craziest thing in the world. So I ended up releasing this Scornful song through a company called Sound On, which is like the music distribution side of TikTok, which seems like something I would never want to do, but they give me the flexibility to go and do all that. They don't care because they're not music industry people. They're just social media people. So I uploaded it through them, basically. So I own all 100% of the rights. It's all my stuff. I don't have any deals or records or labels or anything, but they push it to the streaming services for me and they do all the stuff. So that way I'm not even having to use a music company to push my music. I can kind of just like not even be there at all, you know, like not
That's
even be
amazing.
in Nashville at all. That's the goal, is just to get. And so now that I've got data from, you know, since Richmond basically, and have learned a lot, my goal long term is I'm going to always put new music out and write stuff, and, you know, but it's going to come in spurts, and there'll be times where people won't see a lot of me, but I'm going to be in the background with other people. Like, I want to help. I want to find these people on TikTok that have like 100 followers, but I know that they've got what it takes, and get with like Draven and some of these other people I've met and like help them write some really good songs and record them and put them out and push them. And just like, I would love to plant like 10 or 15 people into music, like give them everything I can give them to push them forward and make like, that way it doesn't feel like I'm the guy in the spotlight trying to like, I feel like I'm like the most, I don't know, these companies have got like all these employees and all this money and all this backing, and it's literally like 4 or 5 of us taking them. It just, I don't know. To me, I just think I think there's strength in numbers. If I could help more artists push forward and like help them break that cycle too, that it would be like a multiplication factor on this whole thing. That's kind of that's going to be kind of my next thing I get into is helping produce music and doing festivals and like starting a label, basically, kind of, sort of.
That's fucking awesome.
But a non-predatory one. Like,
Yeah.
even when Draven puts somebody on Radio WV, if they get 30,000 views, there's already people trying to sign them. Like, they just want control of every new thing that's, you know.
Well, that's what they were trying to do to you right off the bat.
Oh, and it felt
God you didn't-
terrifying, too, to not do it. It just felt like I was just, everything in me felt wrong doing it, you know. But I just decided that I didn't care about it, and that I remember being very adamant at the beginning that every decision moving forward was based off the fact that I wasn't scared to go back to my old job if I had to, because I'd rather go back to my old job and be me than go to Republic, but just be Republic's little bitch, you know, and have to do everything they want and say everything. Like, and
also seeing where all your profits go and realizing that you got hoodwinked into these deals, because these deals, when they give you a big chunk of money, you got to pay that money back.
Yeah.
That's all just in advance.
Well, if I had went with a label, I would have been a lot bigger, though, because they would have made me push 30 songs out a year, and they would have put all this marketing money into, and they would have kind of inflated me into this big fake, like every other country superstar. And so it feels a lot better just kind of being a little scaled back, a little smaller, but yeah, collecting 100% of my money, and then also just knowing that I don't have a boss anymore, other than other than the man upstairs. Like, I don't.
Yeah. That's
Gosh, dude. I mean, like,
the big one.
imagine I've heard stories from bands and stuff now that have told me that they've went and had to record music like under a label contract and really didn't like the way the album turned out, but still had to release it anyway. Like, oh my gosh, that would just make me to have to put music out that I didn't think was good
And
or
then they're
didn't
going to
believe in.
promote it, and then they're going to get behind it. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want other people, especially financial people, to ever be involved in your art. Ever. Even if they're good people, like, no, we can work out a beneficial deal for both people. No, it's not going to be beneficial for you. It's going to influence you. and it's going to turn you in one way or another. That's not the way you would have originally gone on your own.
And the reason there's so much money in music is because music's such a big part of us as human beings. And it's like, it's so funny. The first thing they do when they sign somebody is like try to rip their identity away. And it's like the labels don't understand that it's the identity of the person that put them in the position they're in the first place. It's like you said, the relatability of it, you know?
Well, there's also people have this instinct to try to influence people. So there's one of the things that executives do in the beginning when someone's just starting. They go, you know what you should do? You should get a crew cut. I think you'd look great with a crew cut. And then, like, the crew cut was my idea. And like, you know, something about Oliver's crew cut. Everybody loves that crew cut. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's just like, he doesn't give a fuck about his hair. That was my idea. Yeah. You know, there's a little of that. Because, like, people are easily influenced. Because, like, in the beginning, you're not sure. Like, I can't even believe I got signed. Like, am I going to be a star? Are these people all here for me? You know, and they'll fucking get in there.
That's happened to me. I mean, I brought around February or so, I hired this management company that stayed. They were my management company for 3 weeks, so that kind of tells you how well things worked. But he was super nice, like loved everything I was doing. And then as soon as I started with him, he was telling other people that I know, like, yeah, we got to figure out how to make him cool, and he needs to put like 40 or 50 songs out this year. And they were wanting me to make this social media post like complimenting Beyonce's country album because he thought it was going to get me in a position. Like, it's exactly what you're saying. It's just like, and I just told him, I was like, dude, if I just wanted to be somebody's little puppet, I would have taken a lot more money for it. Like, you know, I'm independent, so I don't have to do that. It's like, but that's like, and it's like the thing is I don't need to be cool. It's okay that I'm kind of lame, but I'm just me, and you know, it is what it is. It's like I don't have to try to get on the internet and pretend to be cool. There's enough people doing that.
You're cool, man. Stop this. You're cool. You're not lame. You're not lame at all. What the fuck are you talking about? You're a cool guy. You make great music, and you're fun to hang out with. How are you lame? Because you're normal. Guess what? Everybody's normal. It's a ruse. Beyonce's normal too. She takes horrible shits, I'm sure. We all do. We all do. They're humans, human beings, man. This illusion of celebrity. It's complete, total nonsense.
Dude, that's the best thing.
Yeah, everybody takes horrible shits. You want a brain gummy? Want some brain gummies?
I was hoping you had some of the Alex Jones ones.
Well, these are the On It ones. They're new. They're Alpha Brain gummies. We just got them.
How is Alex doing these?
He's great. He lost a lot of weight, man.
I saw he's getting like, yeah, he's ready for the next.
My friend Sean Johnson's training him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he gets up every morning. He works out for fucking hours. I think he's lost 70 pounds at this point. He looks fantastic, man.
Yeah.
He looks fantastic. He looks like he's 20 years younger. People think, this is really funny because, you know, his whole business is conspiracy theories. So it's a conspiracy that Alex has been replaced.
Yeah.
Listen, folks, that's real Alex. I've watched every step of the way, and my friend trains him. So I can tell you for a fact that is the real Alex Jones. Quit drinking, quit fucking around, quit eating bad food. He's eating healthy food now, and he works out every day. It's like no Ozempic, no bullshit, no shortcuts. He did it the right way. He looks great.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my bucket list people to meet at some point.
Oh, I can introduce you to Alex.
Yeah,
we can make that happen for sure. 100%.
I thought that'd just be hilarious.
That's done. Yeah. Done.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll hook that up. Be prepared.
That'd be an interesting conversation, yeah.
Because off air, he's just like he is on air.
Yeah.
That's Alex Jones. He's ready to go. He's got a billion fucking what Bill Gates is doing right now. And then you're like, corny. You're like, what? How does he get away with that? Well, basically, they paid off all the mass media. If you see, there's a $350 million donation that he gave to all the media companies. Like, what? 350? Is that real? And then Jamie will look it up. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I know. He's right a lot of the time.
He's right most of the time, except that one big one. But other than that.
But you'll get that with, like they say, like the kids say, you get that with those big jobs, you know?
You know what also I think happens, and I think this is 100% real, is that there are a bunch of fake stories that get propagated to people that are really invested in conspiracy theories, hoping that those people promote those fake conspiracy theories and then get outed as being wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I think you can get caught up in that. And then I also think if you're real quick to not check, and I'm guilty of that all the time, to see if something's legit. You know, that's one of the vital roles that Jamie plays. Like, Jamie's like, maybe that's not real. Like, what? Why are you fucking this up, Jamie? Like, we want it to be real, right? You want a nice, juicy conspiracy to be real. And then also, you know, at the time of the Sandy Hook stuff, he was drinking, like, a lot. And I think he was genuinely overwhelmed by all the real stuff that he was finding. You know, when he's getting into the Iraq War and all these different things, it's like he was just overwhelmed, man. I think he had a psychotic break, you know, and he'll be the first to say that too. It's like when your whole business is uncovering insane conspiracies that everybody thinks you're out of your fucking mind, and then 20 years later, they're like, holy shit, he was right about every step of the way. He was telling me about central bank digital currency connected to a social credit score system, that it's game over because they'll lock you in just like they've done with China. And he was like saying this like a decade plus ago. And I was like, what? Huh?
Yeah, it's great. Like the guy before him that I think the two of them actually didn't get along. But I always, if I ever do meet Alex, I was going to ask him about that. Is Bill Cooper, but he was a guy who kind of came before Alex.
He's a behold a pale horse guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, even back then, most of it seemed like total madness back then, and now it's like. But it's just sort of like I laugh about when I was a kid. Everyone thought that Michael Jackson was the big, like, sexually perverted guy, and who knows with Michael. But you know, now I look at Michael as like this just kid that was put in this terrible position from a child up, and now all these other musicians that you wouldn't even think are the sex predators are. It's just kind of like you just don't really know much of anything anyway. But yeah, like with
the Michael Jackson thing too, is his doctor said that he was chemically castrated when he was young to maintain his voice, and I believe him because that totally makes sense. You look at his frame. His really thin frame, where it doesn't look like he has any testosterone. You look at all his brothers. His brothers are like thick, like
what does chemically castrated mean exactly?
Well,
do I even want to know?
Crazy thing. It's hormone blockers. It's exactly what they're doing to trans kids now.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Okay,
and that's why Michael Jackson had that voice. It's very similar to a castrato's voice. Do you know what a castrato is? So these kids in opera were castrated when they were young, and there's only one available recording. I think it's like one guy, right? Have you ever heard it? You should hear
a long time ago. Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
Let's listen to some of it because it's fucking creepy.
I just have heard stories about about that being a thing, that
they would castrate children so that they never had testosterone, so that their body never really developed, and then they would have them maintain that young voice, that high pitch that's only possible if you don't develop the deepness that comes with. That's why when when women start taking testosterone, their voice starts getting deeper. Things start getting weird. They started getting very Dwayne Johnson. You know, it's like that's testosterone. That's the effect that it has on your voice. And these poor fucks. Alessandro Moreschi.
I don't want to. I'm not going.
Don't make fun of him. It's a beautiful woman.
Yeah. This is a grown man, right?
This is a grown man.
That'll be sampled in the next Kanye song or something.
Yeah, we can leave it there. We don't have to play any more of it. It's so haunting. It's so haunting. First of all, what fucking psycho figured out that if you cut off little boys' balls, you could make them sing like that forever? Like, what fucking psycho was the first person to do that?
Yeah.
Because these are little kids they're doing it to. They're doing like 6-year-olds.
Was this in the church? Was this like a church thing or a...
I do not know. It was an opera thing. But I know
opera thing.
Castrating men, eunuchs was a common thing when people were working in the homes of royals. They'd castrate them. There's one of the most horrific stories was Nero. Nero beat his wife to death and then took a slave boy who looked like his wife and castrated him and changed his name to his wife and presented him as his wife. Yeah. People in power have always been horrible.
Yeah.
People, when they get unchecked power, have always been horrible. That's why directionally, like this whole No Kings protest that's supposed to go down on Saturday, directionally, it's correct. Like, you don't want kings, you don't want oligarchs, but who's funding it? Well, it turns out it's funded by an oligarch. It's funded by a lady worth $20 billion who is the heiress to Walmart, who Walmart, a company that employs cheap labor and sells a lot of stuff from China that would be affected by tariffs. You know,
it's like that with all of them, though. It's like
that with everything, man. Everything is like it presents as being this moral situation. Like they're really looking out for you. They're really looking out for people. They're never really looking out for people. There's always some primary profit motive that's causing any organized thing. It's never for the human race. Unless the people are all on mushrooms, it's never for the human race. And until mushrooms get legalized, that's probably never going to happen. And that's the real battle. The real battle is what gets legal first, AI or mushrooms. You know?
Yeah, it's
both of us will lead towards God. Both of them will lead towards God, but one with a completely different outcome.
It's going to take me like 4 or 5 times listening to it to be able to talk about it. But I've went back and listened to the maps of meaning on Audible, and it's one of Jordan's earlier works, you know, and he's talking about society and how it's structured, and basically talks about like the motivations and the origins of why people always resort to evil. You know, like in this, I mean, we talk so much about the Holocaust, but not at all about all the other horrible tragedies that happened there at the same time. But even like talking about with Russia, like just think about the Soviet Union and what happened there and how easily people were turned against. It's just, this little moment in time we're in is just so, we should just be so thankful for it, even though it is mass chaos right now. Like the fact that people are allowed to speak freely and do things and have the influence and power they do is just nuts when you think about. You're right. I mean, it's the same crazy people that we're arguing about today have always existed in different forms and with different names and faces.
But we are better off today than anybody else in human history. And this is a struggle and it is a battle. But I think we can come out of this on the other side if we all realize that we're being played against each other. And that's where it's important. You know, when you're paying people to protest, you're leaving pallets of bricks around and you're organizing the whole thing and you're shipping people in on buses and you're making sure that all the people show up at a certain amount of time and they're all compensated and you give them water and snacks. Like, we got to realize what's going on here. This is not for you. When you light your city on fire and you burn cop cars, it's never good. It's not good for you. It's not good for the cause. They're not going to change the laws. One thing that I heard from Trump today that I thought was very promising is that he wants to make an executive order where people that are here for a long time, that have been like working on farms, that are undocumented, that they won't be targeted and that they'll be exempt from all this stuff. This is my feeling. Like if you got here and you've integrated into our society, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have snuck in, but you did it and you're not breaking any laws, you're a hardworking person. Those people need a path to citizenship, man. Because if you don't, then they're just preyed upon by people that will take advantage of the fact that they're undocumented and not pay them what they're legally supposed to pay them and not give them benefits if they're legally supposed to have benefits. And they can't say anything because they're worried that immigration is going to get called on them. So these people are in this constant state of anxiety. And then they hear about the ICE raids, like at Home Depot. Like, what the fuck, man?
There was a big ICE raid at the Facebook data center job not far from my place where I used to have to go when I was at
Facebook data center ICE raid?
Yeah, at the Facebook project. It's in. It's not far from me in Virginia. I think it's technically would it be South Boston? I think it's technically in.
ICE
South
didn't
Boston.
bribe, or Facebook didn't bribe ICE. Facebook. I would have fucking bought ICE some new cars.
There's a big job a big job site that I used to have to go on some that's in the southern part of Virginia, like not far from North Carolina. And somebody was sending me pictures there from the other day, but they had a big ICE raid and there was dudes like running through people were just escaping the job, like running away from the job and stuff. It was nuts. But
why? Like gang members, yes. Criminals, yes. This, why? Like, I think, as crazy as it sounds, the only way to do this and look like you have a heart is evaluate people on a case-by-case basis. Like, there's good people. It's
also so complicated because it goes back for so long. And the thing now is that there's two very polarizing opinions of what America even is or represents or what job it's supposed to serve to the world. So, like, you know, for any country to exist, there has to be something there that identifies what it is as a country. And it just seems like without citizenship or without some definitive thing of who's a citizen or not, it's like, then it's not even a country. It's like, and most every country has some, like, the idea of there being no immigration laws for a country means that it's no longer a country. But I also think it's like, the opposite side of that too is like, America's always in theory, even though it's always been ran by there's always been these corrupt people involved in it. In theory, you know, America was started as sort of this thing that was like, that could maybe be like a sanctuary that doesn't allow monarchies and dictators and horrible things, you know, like as bad as America maybe has been in certain cases, like the fact that when Japan lost, they didn't just go and take it over and call it another part of America. Like they went and tried to rebuild. Like in theory, America is supposed to be this vein that exists of, you know, its origination is from people who wanted to get away from monarchies and dictators. And of course, like it's so easy to pick on the founding